Hello, everyone, and welcome to NXT Taking Over. I am Holland and Fries, and I'm joined by the one and only the natural Astrid Pizarro. Astrid, how you doing tonight?
Doing better today. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. It's been a long week for NXT stuff this week, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot
Lots
going
of dumb
on.
shit. You know what? We're just going to start it right here. For anybody who follows that absolute fucking knucklehead, who might still be following our channel, go fuck yourselves. Go watch it somewhere else. If you know, you know, and if you don't know, Javon Evans is an absolute star in this business. And we're going to talk more about it later tonight with how he made the next impression. But for anybody else who agrees with the other knucklehead in his take on Javon Evans last week, go fuck yourselves. Otherwise, hi, welcome to Taking Over. I'm Olin and Fries.
What an intro.
You know, let's start the clippable content early. NXT started with the clippable content early too. Dijak versus Noam Dar starts off the show tonight. Ashley, what you think?
I liked it. I don't want to say it was bad because I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't have picked it as the opener because I just wanted something like that would kind of hook me up with the show, and that wasn't it for me. But Dijak, you did incredible. I just don't click with No I'm Dar. I just don't. I tried, but I don't. But it is what it is.
I mean, I'll go out here and say I'm not the highest on Noam Dar. I don't, we're not the Meta 2. We don't take after Metaphor. I think most of Metaphor can honestly go crawl back under a rock and I'd be fine. However, Noam Dar is incredibly talented in that ring. And the match that him and Dijak put on tonight was very entertaining. However, story of the night is somebody on the outside gets involved, babyface loses the match.
Yeah.
It happened over and over and over again tonight. And it really, like, NXT is usually creative about how they do things. Tonight, they've like, oh, look, we got our one creative thing. Now we're just going to kind of go back
Copy
to
and
being
paste.
lazy. Copy paste. Control V, Control V. Yeah,
I
it
was gonna
wasn't
say for me
great.
it's Control C, Control V, but
That's what I was trying to say, but apparently I did not think of it right. Apparently, there's a snowstorm out there in Saskatchewan. That sucks. Poor Bobby. But no, I like this match. Oro gets on the ring apron. Dijak knocks him down. Noam hits the Nova Roller. But I thought that the match in of itself was really good. I thought it was an interesting opening match. I thought it did what in difference to your opinion, I think it did exactly that. It got me interested in the show. These two guys put on a hell of a match. I thought that they really told an interesting story. Noam Dar working on that leg, being the heel, finding the spot and just taking it and pinging it, pinging it and pinging it and pinging it. And Dijak just constantly being the monster who could just keep getting back up and keep doing everything until the numbers game was too much. I thought that was great. Basser yells snowstorm. Well, you know what, Saskatchewan kids, you're probably going to have no school today, so stay up late and watch with us.
I was gonna say my favorite part was when he tossed Noam Dart to the outside. He could do that as many times as he want. I wouldn't mind it.
I mean, I agree. I'm not going to sit here and defend Noam Dar. I love it when Noam Dar gets thrown around like a rag doll, but like I said, I thought it was a pretty decent match. It wasn't match of the night. We'll talk about that later. But I thought it was a really good match that did exactly what it needed to do. It makes Noam Dar feel important again because he gets a win. It makes Dijak continue to look like a monster because he got screwed out of getting the win, but looked great the whole match. Oro's got some creative problems that Oro needs to deal with and fast because apparently he's done something to creative. Right, Mike says it's 55 degrees at Goddong, 3 a.m. here. I wish it was cold enough to bloody snow. It's 50 degrees here at 10:20, and I'm enjoying myself. We're
I
not
wouldn't
going to
know what
talk
that
about
feels
Astrid
like.
because Astrid's probably over 80 right now.
I don't know. Let's see.
Continuing our meteorological conversation, Bobby, barrier snow is accompanied by rain today. It's going to
70.
make driving tomorrow look about on par. See, I was right. Almost 80. On par with first-year wrestler running the ropes. Running the ropes. The problem every first-year wrestler has. It's so much fun. Speaking of things that were fun, Ava is sitting at her desk and she gets a knock on the door. And in walks Ilja Dragunov, looking like the stud Ilja Dragunov is. And Ava's like, look, Trick's got a match tonight, and then he's got the match with you next week. And Ilja's like, yeah, it sucks for Trick. And she's like, well, I don't think it's fair. He's wrestling, you're not. I think you should have a match. Ilja's like, okay, you're the general manager. Do your thing. Like, I don't give a shit. And she's like, well, I'm glad you feel that way. You can pick your opponent. And he's like, look, lady, I don't care. Tell everybody in the locker room that whoever gets out there first can get their ass kicked by me. I don't care who it is. I'm going to do it anyways. How fun is it to have a champion who's just like, you want me to wrestle? Cool, I'll wrestle. Oh, I get to pick my opponent? Nah, we'll just do an open challenge. It's fine. I don't have to worry about that. Why should I pick when they can all fight for it?
The confidence, though. I wish I had it.
Nothing with Ava is ever fun. She's terrible. Bad Barry. Ava was really good. Ava was really good tonight. She was on her A game tonight. I was very impressed with Ava tonight in multiple segments. I thought she was a delight. She is my favorite of the three general managers, which is a surprise considering how much I like Nick Aldis. I think Nick Aldis is great. I think his character on SmackDown is shit. But I think Ava's doing great. Dragunov turning into Wesley. No, so I put this in a tweet that I sent out earlier. As a champion, when you know you're leaving a territory, the one thing you always try to do is make a star on your way out. Ilja said, I could make one. Why don't I make two? We'll talk about the 2 stars he's going to make in back-to-back weeks coming up later. Ava has no gravitas. She doesn't need to have gravitas. She just needs to be able to say, you, fight. Not every general manager has to be Dixie Carter, Barry Monkey. I know Dixie was great, but not everybody has to be Dixie Carter and ruin the wrestling business on her way to the top. I'm sorry. Like, seriously, like, Barry's the TNA guy. Of all companies, he's not the one to talk about people who are matchmakers on television having no charisma whatsoever. Like, with the exception of Santino, none of the TNA general managers have ever really been any good.
Not even Scott D'Amore?
No, Scott D'Amore is barely okay as a character. As a character, I think he ran TNA like a well-oiled machine. But as a character, I really didn't care about Scott D'Amore.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't gravitas just a buzzword to make that people make up like plethora? No, Dixie was not a fucking goat. She looked like a fucking goat. There's a difference.
Oh my god. Ed is like aggressive today. What's going on, partner?
Oh. Anyways, we then get an absolutely fantastic promo of a girl playing in the cotton field and like playing with her dolls, and then all of a sudden it shifts and it's Tatum Paxley in this dark room with all these dolls and these pictures of NXT Women's Champion on the wall. And it's just this fantastic promo that finally, after all these months, finally gives us a fucking direction as to where this character's going. And it's a good one. I really like the direction. She's not obsessed with Lyra Valkyria. She's obsessed with the championship. She's in love with the championship, not the champion. So when Lyra lost the title, she turned on Lyra. And now she says it's about her. She's going to have to be able to protect the championship. And I love how she's listing off the great former NXT Women's Champions. Io, Bayley, Rhea, Shayna, Asuka. And she goes all the way back to the like, this is fantastic promo work from Tatum Paxley. For the first time, we got some actual character development on what this funky character is. And ironically, it makes all of the rest of the character work better by having waited for it. Because it makes you think about what she's done and go, no, this makes sense. I really wish they would have done this a couple months ago. Would have been really cool, but you can't tell that until she turns on Lyra. So Lyra has to lose the title first. So I get it now why it had to be this week to drop that promo. But it could have been interesting to have it a little earlier. Barry says Tatum was good at it. So many tried that stuff and they're terrible, but Tatum was great. I agree. I thought she killed it. Like I don't know how many takes they did to get this right, but she had a personality. It felt real. It didn't feel like she was trying to be a character. I love Alexa Bliss. I think she's fantastic. But Dark Lexi was never the best Alexa Bliss because it didn't, as much as she loved what she was doing, it didn't feel real. It didn't feel natural. It felt like she was trying to do something. With Tatum, it felt a little natural. It felt a little creepy. I legitimately felt a little bit of skin crawly with this whole conversation. And that's what you want from this character.
Yeah.
What did you think of the promo?
I get where you're coming from about the Alexa part. I think with Alexa, though, it's just a matter of like, she's a horror fan. So to be able to play a character that kind of has that tendency that could be kind of like in a horror movie, to her is probably like a dream role, to put it like that. Obviously not in a movie, but in WWE. And it's a good mix for her, having like that horror and WWE mixed in one. So I get what you mean about not being real, but I think just like something that she probably would have loved in that aspect for her at least. But yeah, this video package, chef's kiss, I loved it. And going back to what you said, it's just like that we could have used this months ago. It reminds me of like there were so many moments in NXT since we've been watching it that they give us a video package so much later that we're like, we could have used this at the beginning. It would have explained everything. And then do it in such a way sometimes it doesn't make sense. But with this one particularly, it does make sense. But I wish it, in a way, we could have had something along these lines to begin with. We're like, okay, now I get it. And it's like she says so many lines that were just like, I love the pictures with the former women's champions and pictures when they were champions, because like the Rhea one is an older picture, it's not a recent one, and the Bayley is a hugger Bayley, for example. So I like how they went with that of like pictures when they were champions at that time. I like how she said, "Oh, it didn't matter who held it; it was more about that championship, not about Lyra." She said, "I wanted to keep the championship with her, and you lost the one thing that I love." And she's like, Lyra, you're in my way. When she said that, I was like, this is what I needed to see before. I'm so happy that she did it. And it just made me more into the character than before, too. Just like, this is probably the best spooky character we've had in NXT, I think, right now. Probably close to like Isla and Alba will be for me, maybe. Because they gave such a great backstory to this. I just like maybe like more interested in what she does next. And it just goes back to everything that she was saying. It's like, yeah, I understand what she was doing, this and that. I wish we would have had it a little bit earlier with somebody else, so we can kind of get an intrigue of what she's going against that person, and then going with, going after Lyra as well. But again, it's just like the character work that she did here, incredible. This is kind of how she is in real life. It makes it even more interesting because that makes me curious now if she is like that and like in like the spooky stuff. Like, I want to know, Tatum. I want to know because I'm intrigued now for more than anything. But yeah, I love this one beginning to it. I really enjoyed it, and it just makes even the match more interesting now.
And I want to throw something out there. We know the reporting that Fightful Select is reporting via Sean Ross Sapp and Corey Brennan, if I remember correctly, is the name, right? Yeah. Is reporting that Julia is going to be debuting for one of the NXT Women's Championships in Toronto at Heatwave. I think the perfect person for Julia to debut against is Tatum. Tell me, because the best match is obviously Roxanne versus Julia. That's the best match. The next best match is probably Lyra versus Julia. But I'm telling you, I think there's something interesting with Julia cutting promos on this crazy chick who's obsessed with the championship, not with being champion, but just obsessed with protecting the championship.
Yep.
That could be really interesting for Julia's debut. Plus, it's somebody that she can easily beat. That doesn't matter if she takes a big L. It's still going to be the biggest stage Tatum's ever been on in a match. And I think it gives Tatum a little bit of a push in the right direction, if that were to be the case. I think the best story of the three, I legitimately think, is Tatum versus Julia.
And now that you mention it, no, I know not too long ago she brought up a move during her match that a lot of people were like, "Oh, that was interesting," and then some people made it a comparison to a move that one of the girls that does in Stardom. So I've been curious if she's been watching Stardom matches and getting influenced by that, because we saw a little bit of like a change with her in-ring style to that as well. So it's like, I wonder there's something there.
We'll get to that thing, because that was weird as hell.
So I definitely want to show it to Mel. I think Mel would be the person to like tell me if she's seen what she did tonight, if she's seen something similar in Stardom, because the other one I have seen people with doing the comparison videos. But I'm curious about that now too.
We also have Noel taken putting. I just want to put it out. I had it up earlier, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it. So she's Paul Heyman. She goes with the championship, not the champion. Kinda. She doesn't go with the champion. She's there to protect the belt. She doesn't care who holds the belt, as long as she can protect the belt. Again, it's going to take a couple more layers, and it's going to take some more beats to really tell it. But when you go back and you rewatch the stuff she's done from here to now, it makes more sense for why she was constantly protecting Lyra, which I think is more interesting. Well, we can't have all good things. Now, I know there's something else in here, and I'm going to have Astrid tell me if it's now. I know we have Ariana Grace and Gigi Dolan, but I don't know if it happens before or after the Sol Ruca versus Lola match.
I have it after. Yeah.
Okay. So I was right. We go from something really, really good to Lola Vice. God NXT. God NXT. Come on. However, Lola was improved tonight, and the quicker pace of Sol Ruca let Lola look slightly better and less out of place than she has in previous weeks. I think that everybody's worried about working down to her level, that they take it slow and she gets out of rhythm. Tonight, Sol worked a faster pace, and it felt like Lola was keeping up with Sol's pace, as opposed to Natalya working slower, Roxanne working slower, Lyra working slower, constantly everybody having to work down to her level. I thought this one was vast improvement, but then again, when you're shining a turd, it doesn't take much to vastly improve. But again, strike two for the outside finishes, where somebody comes from the outside and distracts the person in the ring, and Sol Ruca tries to balance herself on the ropes doing a cartwheel as Blair comes out to distract her, and she falls and then gets the kick. Better, not good, not great, but better. However, it is drastically worrying to me that the first line of the actual match, Vic Joseph and Booker T are talking about how these two are at the head of the line to potentially be the first North American Women's Champion. I have a real bad thought that they're going to put this fucking belt on Lola Vice.
Oh, I know. No. No.
Astrid?
No. Can I say I quit the show if that happens?
I mean, you can.
Why? Not
your
her.
Twitch hours are going to go down if you quit this show. Your Twitch hours are really going to go down.
Oh my gosh.
This is the only constant show that streams on your channel.
I know. No, this one just I like the Power Soul because you can tell she's doing what she can, but and like I told you privately when we were watching it, just like having Lola win over Soul is definitely a choice. Not the choice I would have made, but definitely a choice. I can tell you that.
Speaking of choices, we have a comment of choice in here. Noel Token says, best segment of the show, hands down. Lola takes it easy so she doesn't hurt those ladies. She has to go half speed. You were saying?
Oh no, Noel, why? I'm just frustrated with her at this point because, and I saw it on Twitter. I was like, okay, I'm not the only one. Her constant like Spanish, it doesn't even sound genuine. It really doesn't. It's just like I wonder she's at times that she's even Latina to begin with because she tries too hard. Of like try to do it every time during her matches, she's doing her dancing and the words and everything. I'm like, I'm done with you. I don't want to see you on my TV. Let alone have a championship on you. No, no, I really don't want that. No.
Lola struggles to do her part in moves. Soul struggled a few times to pick up Lola, who gave Soul fuck all help. That's how injuries happen. I agree. However, to go one step further down the rabbit hole of, oh God, this is a horrible, horrible fucking idea. Natalya this last week at WrestleMania week during interviews was asked by, I believe, Sandra Sapp about Bloodsport. And she said, yes, she'd be very interested in doing Bloodsport. Well, NXT's general manager, Ava, and program director, Shawn Michaels, were absolutely listening. Because in 2 weeks, and I can't fucking believe I have to say this, we're going to get Lola Vice versus Natalya in NXT Underground.
Well, the first women's match in NXT Underground.
It doesn't make it any better.
I know it doesn't.
I think Natalya's great. I adore Natalya. I think she's ultra talented. I think this is a big mistake putting her in an MMA style environment. I think this will do great things for Lola Vice. Mm-hmm. If Lola cannot shine in 2 weeks in NXT Underground, she's not capable of doing this business, period. This is her, in my mind, her last chance with me. If she can't do, and this isn't about Lola being a woman. This isn't about Lola being a woman of color. This is about Lola being a woman of little talent and substance.
I wish I could find the videos when you were excited about her.
Well, yes, but you also got to remember, at that point, all I'd seen was her shaking her ass. So yes, I was excited. Well, taking since the WWE thing, remember Valentina Feroz. Yeah, remember Valentina Feroz. And Wendy Chu, yeah. And Noel's apparently very excited for women's NXT Underground. I'm not. And Izzy Dame / Carmen Petrovic, whoever Natalya's linked to. Blonde number 1 or blonde number 2, I don't know. She's apparently going to train. Why she gets to train Natalya, who the fuck knows? Like, Natalya's friends with Ronda Rousey. Natalya's friends with Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, but we're not bringing Ronda Rousey in this conversation. No.
We're going to have to talk about Ronda Rousey in a couple of minutes when we talk about the No Corner Catch crew. But no, like, on screen, Natalya's been friends with Ronda Rousey. On screen, Natalya's been friends with Shayna Baszler. Why are we using Carmen Petrovic or Izzy Dame, whichever one it is? I don't know. They
Carmen.
All look alike. Sure, if you say so. If you say so. So why is Carmen the one to train her when she knows actual MMA fighters who have done good things? Hell, why are we not using Zoe Stark? At least Zoe Stark helped Shayna Baszler train for the actual Bloodsport.
But I was going to say, we do have Lola later on in the interview, since you're mentioning it now. When the interview
happened, I don't want to mention it later.
Yeah. In the interview, she does say, oh, wait till you see who I have in my corner. So why would we have somebody like Shayna? I don't know if Shayna's technically a heel at this point. to have her in Lola's corner, maybe somebody like that, because it's supposed to be a heel probably. So who knows if it's her?
It'll probably be Nia Jax. Let's be honest.
That doesn't.
You know what? You know who'd be a great heel to be in Lola Vice's corner? She knows how to hurt people. Liv Morgan. No, I'm just kidding. Liv Morgan doesn't know how to hurt people. Liv is fine.
Damn.
Stop the Liv. I miss my mommy. I'm sorry.
We all do.
I already miss my mommy. Liv took her away from us. By accident or on purpose, it's Liv's fault. By accident or on purpose, Liv is at fault, correct?
No.
She's the one who ran her into the wall.
No, not next.
Barry, I hate Underground. It's boring. NXT, Raw, or any other variety. Barry,
I feel like the NXT was better.
I really do want to see what Barry thinks of Bloodsport. I may have to go back and watch the Video Bros review because our boys last Thursday night went ahead and reviewed Josh Barnett's Bloodsport from this year's WrestleMania weekend. So I definitely think I want to see if Barry watched that show and see what Barry's comments were in that show. Noel says, Carmen needs the spotlight. More importantly, when Natty loses, blame the new girl. See, that's the other problem. With Carmen being the one to go ahead and help her, it seems like Natty's going to eat this L. Which really makes me sad. I can't tell you how much I want Lola Vice to fail here so we can just get rid of her. Speaking of people I want to get rid of, Ridge. Ridge is backstage with Ava. By the way, I think it's before that. After the Soul versus Lola stuff. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it now. What the hell? We finally get Ariana Grace and Gigi Dolan in the same fucking room.
Yeah.
A month later, we finally get them in the same segment.
Right?
My God, it took forever.
It really did.
Barry Monkey says, if I said anything positive about Bloodsport, my account was hacked. I might have been positive a bit. Because all Bloodsport is NXT Raw Underground just in reality. Mm-hmm. It's just the exact same thing, just done by Josh Barnett, who people actually take semi-seriously. Mm-hmm. But this segment was fantastic. Gigi and Ariana Grace were fantastic. Yes, Ariana Grace is wonderful. She was delightful. But I loved how Gigi was like the littlest bit, just like, I just want to get this done and over with. So I'll do whatever you have to say just so I can stop doing this crap. I love how she's just resigned herself. Like, she's like, I tried to run away for as many weeks as I could. I can't. So I'm just going to fucking do it. But there was one statement that I really got caught by when Gigi was talking about her personality and who she is, because Ariana was like, well, who are you? I want to, pageantry brings out who you are. And she's like, I'm an ass kicker. And she's like, no, you can't be an ass kicker and be in pageants, because being in pageants is all about world peace and solving problems and fixing the world. And I'm like, oh my God, they're finally making a step to take the idea of the pacifist and make it make sense in the wrestling world. Ariana Grace doesn't have an issue solving problems by fighting. Ariana Grace is character in this space, is saying that you don't fight because it doesn't solve any problems. All you need to solve your problems. You need to fix things. We don't need to be fighting. We need to fix things. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a step in the right direction for having a way to. Oh, Georgina. Yes. I still don't know where she got Georgina for Gigi, but that's still fantastic. What were your thoughts on the first portion of this segment?
I mean, it was fun. It was just as fun as Fallon and Tiffany, to be honest. Obviously, in its own different way, we can't really compare them with different roles in that aspect, but I feel like they did very well to give us more character development for both ladies. It wasn't just Ariana, but Ariana shines obviously the most out of both of them here. It just made me wonder, like, why it took so long for this to happen. That's the only thing. I'm like, I would have made it happen anytime after she lost, but still, it was fun to watch it.
Barry Monkey, quick question: what the fuck did Gigi have on her head? Are you talking about the first segment or the second? Because I don't remember her having a hat or anything on.
She had a
Oh,
beanie on.
she had her beanie on, but like nothing
Yeah.
drastic.
Yeah, it is funny having a beanie in Florida with this temperature.
Oh, rocker chick does her thing. We then have Ridge Holland. He pins Wilde against the wall after talking to Ava. Who the fuck knows? We then have the match, and I guess he gets a big win. I wouldn't know. Like the girl who was sleeping on her boyfriend's shoulder, I didn't give a two shits about this match. Did you not notice that? There's one scene where after Ridge wins, they pan to the crowd, and there's this girl totally passed out on her boyfriend's shoulder. And I'm just like, oh, good God.
I don't
Oh,
blame her. If you're bored and comfy, might as well.
how can you be comfy at the PC like that? Those bleachers aren't comfy. My God. Yeah.
No bleachers
Yeah.
are.
So Noel's apparently missed a couple shows. So after he quit, he was at the standalone pre-show. And he was a court. Oh, standalone, stand and deliver, whatever the fuck it is. I don't give a damn. Hopefully he stands alone. I don't give two shits. But we go ahead and he was there, and Joe Gacy came out, and as Joe Gacy was making his entrance, Ridge went ahead and nailed him with a chair. So the next week he came back to TV to apologize to Joe Gacy, and Joe Gacy basically told him that's who he is and to embrace it. And then he literally ran into and through the LWO, and then accidentally slammed Raul Mendoza or Cruz del Toro, whatever the fuck they call them now, his hand in a door. And so Joaquin Wilde wanted to have a match with him this week. Big epic fail on that respect is obviously Joaquin Wilde got his ass whooped. However, the only saving grace for this entire segment is as Ridge Holland is walking away, he walks past a very happy and smiling Shawn Spears. Yay for Spears. As Noel says, how convenient. Yeah. None of us care about Ridge. None of us like what's going on with Ridge. I only care enough about Ridge to see what it does for Shawn Spears, because I like and care about Shawn Spears, and I want good things for Shawn Spears. And I like the idea of him turning someone to the dark side. However, can it be anybody with any personality other than Ridge Holland? Hell, at this point, I'll even take Von Wagner. Von Wagner has more personality and more care than fucking Ridge Holland. Astrid, any thoughts as you meet it?
Oh my gosh. No, I just the same thing is like seeing this, I was like, there's really no point to it for him. I think the only part that was interesting and I was gonna say interesting, is that the fact that he could pin Joaquin and that he lifted him up and just wanted to continue the attack on him to like I'll be done when I want to be done, and not because you want to. And there was a point in the match when Wild is about I forgot what he's doing to Wild, and he is able to counter it, and that kind of gets the pop from the crowd because obviously the crowd is behind Wild. But after that, I don't hear any much of anything because it's Rich and there's no reaction to it, especially when he wins. But like you said, I like the fact that he just stumbles upon Spears on the way out, and Spears smiling like what I want is coming out of you right now, because you look at how pissed you are, look how you're being in the match and how you were backstage. This is all part of it. So it's nice to see that there's something else going on there, and we're gonna keep getting progress within that. Like you said, it's just like the part of like having Rich doesn't make it interesting for me. It's like I want what I want for Sean because I want Sean to get a spotlight, but I don't want it with Rich. But it is what it is.
Barry, you added too many words here. You could have just said in TNA. You didn't have to add in the system. He's boring, bland, and depressing enough to be in TNA. Speaking of something halfway interesting, Josh Briggs is backstage complaining about his ribs, and the doctor tells him, well, if you took the time off that we're trying to tell you, and you wouldn't hurt as much when you turn and try to breathe, because you have 2 broken ribs. So Ivar comes in and tells Josh, look, sit down, take a couple of weeks off, relax, recover. I've been in this room enough times to know that sometimes you just need to take a break and let your body heal so that you can go out there and do the things you do. And Ivar, with the utmost confidence of a man that he shouldn't be, considering he just lost to too many limes last night, he says, when I beat Obafemi, you're going to get the first shot. I don't know what dream world Ivar's living in where he's going to beat Obafemi, but that was funny. Like, he couldn't even beat Sheamus last night. By the way, Sheamus, looking great. I don't care what the internet says. Sheamus looked great last night. I love a little thick boy who's been to the bar, got one too many drinks. That man looks jacked, stacked, and ready to go. There is no problem with having the look of a man at the age that Sheamus is to still be in that good of shape. Because look, I'm not one to talk about people's shape. I'm like Garfield. All shapes are good. Round is a shape. Sheamus looked great. I have no problems with Sheamus.
Yeah.
Barry also says, Ed, shame on you. I'd argue if TNA wasn't a bad shit. If TNA wasn't a bad shit at present. Sheamus, he did look he looked a little tired and a little knackered, but he didn't necessarily look bad. Like, I've seen some people on the internet talking about how bad Sheamus looked, and I'm like,
no.
Are they looking at the same Sheamus? Because I thought Sheamus looked pretty damn good on Raw.
Yeah, he did. Come on, people.
Either way, we're having a match tonight between Josh Briggs and Ivar. So, we gotta fix the damage that we did last night when we had Sheamus beat up Ivar for no reason. Like, we could have just had Sheamus beat up anybody else. Anybody else. Why did we have to beat Ivar? We wanted to believe that. I honestly thought they were going to make Sheamus lose in his debut, in his return. Because I'm like, oh, well, they're obviously going to, put Ivar over. He's trying to take on Obafemi and NXT. No. Triple H does not care about what Shawn. Much like Vince McMahon in the past, Triple H cares not about whatever NXT's booking with their talent. Give him a month. Sheamus will look fantastic in a month. There's no issues. Sheamus is going to be great. Oh, boy. Then we had Brindley with Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. I don't know who I'm more sick of, Idris Enofe or Brindley. And I'm starting to think that the problem is Idris Enofe. I like Brindley. I think she's got something. She's annoying, but I think she's supposed to be. I like the fact that Malik Blade's buying in. That makes sense. At this point, he'll do anything to get wins, even if it means teaming with the white girl. However, Idris Enofe, you've done nothing. Why are you scoffing at what this girl has to offer? No matter how batshit crazy it sounds, let her come out there with you guys with a match against the Final Testament. What's the worst that can happen?
You gonna win?
No. Let's not go that crazy. That's like Ivar thinking he's going to beat Obafemi. Let's not go crazy here. We're not going to beat the Final Testament.
I know. I mean, she's got to offer something. Might as well offer them a victory.
I think Blade has the crush on Brindley. I know Enofe had the crush on Mandy. But we're not going to talk about that because that's where they got the name that I write in my notes that I can't talk about on TV. Then we have another backstage segment. They really could have done with putting a match in between all these backstage segments.
Mm-hmm.
Thea Hale and Andre finally talk it out. Almost a year later. Good fucking job. This should have happened 6 months ago. They finally fucking talked shit out about the towel being thrown in. Honestly, it's a cute segment. Andre talks about how he'll always back Thea Hale, that he had his betting under control. But then he was like, well, I know Thea's going to win, so I'm just going to put all my money on Thea Hale. And then he talks about how he was looking at her and watching her and the pain that she was in and everything she was going through. And the tears on her face as she's trying not to quit during the match with Tiffany Stratton, and he couldn't take it anymore. No matter what the consequences, he had to throw in the towel to get her out of pain. And it was like a father talking to his daughter. And it hit me a little in the feels. Didn't hit me a lot, but hit me a little bit. Like, oh, that's kind of sweet. But then I remembered that it's Thea Hale, and I cared less. But they finally make nice. Thea Hale apologizes for all the problems that she's brought on to Chase U. She goes ahead and gives him a hug, and they're finally back on the same page. Yay.
You're so happy it happened.
I'm so excited. Dad, we need to talk. Like, it's a good segment. I just think it's 6 months too late.
Imagine Tiffany won the championship, retained the championship, lost the championship, went to the main roster, and they're still talking about this.
Yes! Tiffany already had a premium live event match on the main roster, and the time it took them to have a conversation about Thea Hale losing the match with the thrown-in towel. Like, how the fuck did we go this long without having that fucking conversation?
No idea. Well.
Oh, my God. Then, to switch things up, we have a promo segment in the ring.
Yes.
Because, all these other segments have been backstage or outside or somewhere other than the ring. So they figured they should show us that it's still a wrestling program with a wrestling ring and do something in the wrestling ring. I mean, I'd blame JC, but there was a portion of the story where JC wasn't even fucking involved. Like, this should have happened weeks after the towel got thrown in. He should have sat this girl down in a corner, had Duke Hudson hold her, and explained to her what happened. All right. So I'll be honest. I didn't listen to about half of this. Everything Tony said until the Candy Crew came out, I didn't listen to.
I mean, there's not much to it. He just said, like, they all take care of their own, and then he says Luca and Stags, they can take over the tag team division, bring us championships, and said Rizzo is like the future of the women's division. Whenever she decides to take that part of it, she could be a highlight of it. But not much happened before the Candy Crew came out. So
I just literally my notes. Tony talks a lot, but none of it makes much sense. And then out comes Charlie Dempsey, and things get a lot more interesting. We find out from Tony that so Charlie comes out and says, I really don't like the fact that you made our business public, considering you're a man who likes to work in the private area. To which Tony then outright admits that the D'Angelo family, no, not this D'Angelo family, the other D'Angelo family, went ahead and took out Drew Gulak. Because he says, we took out one of your own because you guys couldn't be bothered to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Charlie Dempsey cuts this really weird work shoot promo section where he talks about taking care of business having been for the betterment of the entire wrestling business.
Wow.
He talks about how this had to be done so that wrestling could be better, safer, and more respectable. And I'm like, what else don't we know about what fucking happened between Drew Gulak backstage? Because the one thing that Ronda Rousey talked about wouldn't end up with him getting killed off on television like this. Like, this wasn't, he made us mad and he broke the clutch code or whatever the fuck they call it. The catch clause or bullshit like that. Like, this is like big words, like respect, betterment for the business is the word I kept coming back to.
Yeah.
Like, those are some big claims for writing off Drew Gulak. Like, I'm like, oh, they'll get rid of him for a while. Things will calm down. Gulak.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think Gulak's coming back. I think Gulak's gone. Like, gone.
I saw this on Twitter and I can't unsee it. They just post some TNA thing on him by killing him off like this. He's off with the fish.
Like, I get that. I understand that you have to explain why Drew Gulak's not there. I get that. But this went beyond just explaining that Drew Gulak's no longer part of the Candy Crew.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's just the words were really pointed
for
something that seemed like it wasn't a big deal. Like, sexual assault is always a big deal. Don't get me wrong. However, the Drew Gulak stuff seemed to blow over relatively calmly. Ronda Rousey talked about it on one show. She did one interview where she talked about it. Drew Gulak seemingly apologized on Twitter, and things seemed to just disappear. People weren't talking about it on Twitter.
Yeah, so did he.
Nothing. Yeah, and then he disappeared. Yes, I agree. But it's just like, it's weird that, like, the problem disappeared, and so did Gulak. Like, there are guys still working in the wrestling business who had bigger infractions that are going on that were champions in other promotions, and they're guys that were fighting for championship opportunities going into WrestleMania weekend that have allegations against them. Hell, one of them is still in the Judgment Day. I'll let you guess which one that is. But, like,
it's not my champion, by the way.
Maybe they want Ronda back.
I would after that.
No, Ronda's made it very clear in the things that, in the excerpts coming out from her book. I don't think Ronda's ever coming back. Like,
no.
She went off on their treatment of Logan Paul, being like, where was his treatment for me? Bitch, Logan Paul is the biggest star in the world. Like, I think Logan Paul's a piece of trash. But Logan Paul's following is like 15 times what yours is, honey. Like, Logan Paul, he's Astrid's favorite Puerto Rican wrestler. He's Astrid's favorite Puerto Rican champion. Yes. But like she was like, look, like, this guy got to have matches worked out over and over and over again to make sure his matches were great. Where was that for me? The only time that happened for me was my debut. I looked great, and then they gave up on me. Yeah, because they thought the person who was trained in MMA, who, you know, could wrestle in the MMA, would figure out the whole wrestling thing. We didn't think that we'd have to hold your hand like we have to hold the fucking celebrity.
I was going to say my champion saw my reaction on the bump. I'm a happy camper.
Noel says we never know what goes on. I agree that we never knows what goes on backstage. Yeah. I agree. But it couldn't have been just the one thing we heard for him to get treated like this. The treatment he got means there's more to the story than just what we heard. Yeah. STG says Ronda never wanted to put in serious work. She got her ass kicked by Holly Holm and has been making excuses, no accountability. I'm done reading the shit that she says. I agree. I don't think Ronda Rousey experiment did very much at all. And that she ran away from the MMA world because Holly Holm, as you just said, kicked her ass. But, like, of all people to call out, you should not be calling out Logan Paul right now. Like, that man is getting universal praise for the hard work he's putting into this. And you wonder why the guys are working with him every time to make sure his matches are great, where they're putting in the extra work? Because he's worth it. Because he's making the effort to make sure that they put in the extra work. He's asking them to do this. This probably isn't the company telling them to do this. It's probably Logan being like, hey, I want this to be great. Can we do something to make this great? And they do it because he has an interest in it. I don't like Logan Paul. Again, I think he's garbage as a human being. However, you can't deny that he's an incredible in-ring talent who brings many, many casual viewers to the wrestling world. There are people watching professional wrestling right now strictly because Logan Paul's here. SCG goes on to say Logan Paul has been putting in the work in comparison to Ronda. I wholeheartedly agree with that one. I don't want to give him any credit, but he's won me over. I agree. Like, I don't want to sit here and say nice things about Logan Paul. I don't. But I have to. Because I can't be biased. Like, I can't be biased just because he's a crappy human being. Because his crappy human being things are just being crappy. Like, he didn't hurt anybody. He didn't do anything that terrible. I just think he's a trash human being. But, like, really, I think Bad Bunny's doing great work. I agree. But again, Bad Bunny, another example of somebody who comes here to Bad Bunny, of the three of them, put more on the line to come to the wrestling world and do the things he did. Because he was, when he came here, the most streamed artist in the world on Spotify.
And going on a tour.
And he was on tour. And he took time off from both of those things to come in here and do work for the WWE because he wants to. And you want to know what? The guys make sure his stuff is good because he puts in the effort. Again, back to what STG said. Logan Paul puts in the work in comparison to Ronda. We then get a brawl between the Candy Crew, who thought that all of this taking out of Drew Gulak would have been for free. By the way, they never mentioned Drew Gulak. They just keep alluding to a guy in your own midst kind of thing, and that's the extent of it. And then a brawl breaks out, and we find out later on that we're getting a 6-man tag during the spring break-in. So, yeah, that'll be fun and interesting. Any other thoughts on this other than the ones we've already discussed about this segment?
It just, like you said, just like the words that were used, it just makes you feel like there's something more there. It feels so weird to think about. It's like, I never thought that we'll put this TNA thing on him and just kill him off the way they did. I feel like it's the first time like NXT does anything like this. So like, we threw him to the fish. He's off, and now you gotta pay us back for the work we did.
No. We've done this before. We killed Pretty Deadly, and then they went to the main roster. We killed Cole Carter all the way back. We killed Cole Carter all the way back to fucking Ring of Honor.
Yeah, but Gulag, I don't know. It definitely feels different than the other ones, though. That's the part that the words that were used, it has a different meaning to what happened with the previous one. So it definitely feels different in that aspect. But yeah, when I heard it, I couldn't believe they were talking about him.
Yeah, that was weird. I'm not going to put up your comment, Noel, but I agree. Gulak did get that specific person's treatment. Again, it's nothing wrong with your comment. I just don't want to highlight the name. Oh, screw it. What the hell? Gulak got the Vince treatment. He did. They wrote him off. They killed him off. He's never coming back.
Yeah.
Now, Ilja comes out for his open challenge. And you know what? We're not going to just talk about this. We're going to show it. Because this is one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time. So above our heads, you can see the little box here. Watch this.
Is going to meet the champ eye to eye.
I love how they came out. This reminds me of the 24/7 championship.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to battle out because I won that spot against him. And it's like, I saw Alexis, I saw Javier there. I think is it Dante? I believe that was there.
Dante Chen's out there. He's the one in the blue face paint you can see. Gacy was out there. Hank Walker is out there. Dion Lennox is out there. I think I saw Tama Tonga out there. out there for some weird reason. But Javon Evans, again, I'm gonna replay this because watch the back of this shot. He's on the barricade here, behind the shot, behind the announce table, and jumps all the way over all of it, and then jumps over the top rope to be the first person in the ring. I was instantly excited for this when I saw that Javon Evans was the man getting this match. That was the only piece of creativity NXT used the entire night when it came to their in-ring wrestling. This match was fantastic. This match was killer. talk to us, Astrid, about Ilja Dragunov versus the young OG.
I mean, it was fun, and like we were mentioning before, just like it is such a great way to highlight Javon. And just for the ones that don't know about him, it is a good way to introduce us to him. And it reminded me of that moment between Carmelo and Adam Cole with the ruthless aggression. Is like Cole's like, I'm on my way out. Let me highlight the person that's coming in here now. It's gonna keep and take over the brand basically. So just like it reminded me of that kind of moment of like those interactions that they're on their way out and they said, let me have that moment with somebody who's gonna be here and be the face of the brand moving forward. And you saw that tonight. And it's like for the ones that didn't know about him tonight, he definitely probably blew you away with what he did today. And do you think this was a short match? Like he could have done more, of course, like because I know he could do more, but still, it was such a great highlight, a great showcase for him. And I'm glad when I knew it was him. I was very glad, but I also liked the presentation beforehand of like everybody battling out here for an opportunity because he said anybody can come and to like have them literally fighting to see who will come into the top and then for him to be creative and find his way in somehow. I just loved it from like the beginning to end of this.
Yeah. It's also nice. So I alluded to it very roughly in the beginning of the show. But Javon Evans was the victim, was an absolute victim of some incredibly derogatory things this week. And he was treated very poorly by someone in our community who should know better, who said some outright disturbing and disastrous things. NXT obviously sees potential in the young OG, and they gave this match time. Ilja also gave him a lot in this match to let Javon Evans shine. It wasn't just that Javon was in the match for 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. It was that throughout this match, he had Ilja on the ropes over and over and over again. Like there were moments where I bought in that he could win this match. Barry says Evans has a few good flipping moves. He looks like he has potential. I agree. The flipping moves that he does are fantastic, and he has potential. The biggest thing I think that I see in him is the crowd's bought in instantly. Mm-hmm. The crowd loves him from the word go. Not only that, we saw this week with what happened to him, the NXT locker room has his back. That entire locker room rallied around him to go ahead and have his back in this week. And maybe because of that, Javon was given an immense stage. And at a young age, he didn't shy away from that immense stage. He continued to be exactly who he is, wrestling the style he is. His style may not be my preferred wrestling style. I don't prefer the high flyers and all the flip-de-doos. We've talked about that. I like some of it. I don't like all of it. However, you can't deny this kid is a star. And if you want to know exactly how much of a star he is, look at the respect he gets from Ilja Dragunov after the match.
But the Mad Dragon, the Czar, the NXT champion, is ready for spring breaking. A super.
Yeah. Not only does NXT believe in him, Ilja Dragunov believed in him. And I think Ilja Dragunov made the call. I think Ilja is the one who was like, I want him. And Ilja now made Javon Evans feel like a star. That man can go into any title picture he wants now with that one match with Ilja and feel like he belongs. Now, granted, he can't beat Obafemi. He's not that good. But I feel like he belongs in the conversation in the North American title picture. I think it'd be fun to watch him and Obafemi go at it and see him eat a 10-minute loss to Obafemi on TV. I wouldn't put him necessarily on a PLE, but I wouldn't mind seeing him on TV eat a 10-minute loss to Obafemi. I think that he has all the potential in the world to be a star. Why? Because the crowd's already flying into him already. STG, I like some of the flips, but when the match is all flips, I get turned off a bit. I agree. I'm the same way. I don't love everything being flippy, but that's the thing with Jay Vaughn. He doesn't just do the flips. He can do all the normal wrestling stuff. He just bounces as he does it. As he says, he's bouncy. I like him. He's got a style. He's got a flair. It's not just that lucha libre style where it's wait for a guy to be in position, do a thing. Walk the guy to the spot, do a thing. It's more of he just finds interesting and interactive ways to use the ring to his advantage. But, I mean, there was nothing better than to just see him getting grabbed by the throat by Ilja Dragunov while he's sitting on the top rope and just get the absolute shit smacked out of him. Like, Ilja hit him hard as he could in the face and knocked that poor bastard all the way down. But you know what? That's what you got to do sometimes. This kid went out there and he gave his all, and Ilja made him a star. And as long as he can keep it going, he will be a star. Agreed. For being 19, he's showing me more than Nick Wayne did with angry Tony Khan face. Yeah. I don't want to talk about the patriarchy. I really can't get on that much of a rant tonight. No. We got Sol backstage with Ava bitching about Blair Davenport, and she requests a no DQ match that we later learn NXT doing its best WCW. It's going to be a beach brawl, everybody.
I don't know how I feel about that name.
I like the match. I hate the name. I need Edris. They make me happy. I'm getting flashbacks of Leon Ruff. No. They have a lot more faith in this man than they ever had in Leon Ruff. Leon Ruff was there to be a joke and nothing else. Not that he's not talented enough, but NXT did not think he was going. When he won that North American title, they made it very clear by the fact that the belt fell off of him when Damian Priest tried to put it around his waist that he was not going to be champion for long.
Yes, unfortunately.
We then get Thea Hale versus Tatum Paxley. Astrid, what did you think of this match? And more specifically, what the fuck was that submission hold?
The moment I saw that, I was thinking, I can't wait for Ed to ask me what the heck this is. I'm telling you, I don't know what she's been watching, what she's been training with, because it looked nice visually, but at the same time, just like, what is it? I was feeling both things at the same time. I just like the same thing before she did. It almost reminded me kind of like a surfboard sort of submission. But before that too, she kind of hit her with a splash in the corner, and she was like squishing her in the corner too. That felt kind of weird-ish at the same time. And it's like I was thinking, why is Tatum bringing out here with all these moves all of a sudden? And she did like 3 moves during this match that I was like, I've never seen anybody do these before. Never. I don't know where she got them from, how she got inspired by them. I definitely want to know because I was so curious more than anything in this match. And they call it like a modified tarantula was the submission move, was that the second one. But this one, again, like we mentioned earlier, it goes back to that copy paste. We had Jasmine by the ropes. She kind of distracts her. And then here comes JC to slip up Thea so that way Tatum can get the win. So again, we get not 1, but 2 run-ins during this one. Yay!
Yeah. It was so good we decided to copy and paste it twice.
Ugh.
I'm ready for Trashy Toxic to go home. I know I came up with a new nickname for them last week. I'm done. I don't care anymore. They're just Trashy Toxic. It was a good match. Ironically, the match I thought between Tatum and Thea was actually really good.
Yep.
That reverse tarantula with like her legs around Thea Hale and then looped into her kneecaps. And then like the ankles just like whooped around her legs, and then grabbing her and tilting her up and grabbing her mouth and just fish hooking it down. Like, it was the weirdest submission hold. but it looked real. It looked interesting, and it looked different. And in 2024, it's a lot harder to make things look interesting and different in the wrestling business nowadays. The match was great. I thought that the ending was jack shit. And then fights galore. Thea goes diving out and tries to attack JC Jane. And while all that's trying to be quelled by the referees, Lyra Valkyria comes running in from behind off camera to beat up Tatum Paxley. So when they turn the camera, Lyra's already there beating up Tatum. And we go backstage to Roxanne Perez, to which my notes say Roxanne cuts another shitty promo.
Oh, no.
But then Ava comes in and saves the day and makes it a triple threat match. And then she made a weird sound. Like Ava, she made like a sound when she was like, it's a triple threat match, and she did something to shut Roxanne up. I don't know if it was words or sound or whatnot.
I missed that part.
Yeah. Somebody asked her about it on Twitter already.
I don't know. I missed that part for sure.
Okay.
At least the noise part. I mean, or whatever that was.
Yeah. It's fine. It doesn't matter. All we need to know is that it's going to be a triple threat match in 2 weeks for the NXT Women's Championship. This is how we get the title off of Roxanne Perez that we never should have put on Roxanne Perez because we were going to be drafting her to the main roster. So why put the title on her for 2 weeks? Preach it. Say it louder for those getting food.
Yeah.
Like, I want to like Roxanne. I want to like her heel character. However, I don't. And I can't. So I won't. We then get AOP coming to the ring, and wow, this match was way more brutal than I thought it was going to be. Like, way more brutal than I thought it was going to be.
I just lost interest in this match, so I literally have nothing.
So at one point, Idris Enofe goes jumping over the top rope to dive onto both members of AOP, whom catch Enofe in the air. No, I think it was Blade. I don't know. It was one of them. The other one then goes running through the ropes to dive at the two of them because the other guy got caught. And AOP took them and lawn darted him into his tag team partner as he dove out of the ring. They also did the Super Collider, which I've so missed seeing the Super Collider on NXT. I think it's great. I know it's dumb, but it's so fun to watch. Just two big burly guys pick a guy up, slam him back to back with his tag team partner, and then both of them slam him down. I really think they should slam them on top of each other. I think that would be a better idea. Slam one guy down, slam the other guy down on top of him.
Yeah.
But no, it was a good match. It was a big win for AOP. Nathan Frazier and Axiom come down, and Nathan Frazier makes it very clear that the referee holding him back. Like
I
he's
thought it was
grabbing
Axiom.
Well, no, they are Axiom together, but Axiom was just kind of wandering out there while Nathan Frazier was like grabbing the referee and pulling the referee towards him to make it look like the referee was holding him back because Nathan Frazier is scared of AOP, but he wants to pretend like he's a big baller. He wants to pretend like he's a big boy. God, I hope they lose these tag team titles fast. I cannot stand them. Yeah, no, can't stand them. Want them to lose.
No.
I want AOP to have these tag titles right now.
No.
Barry Monkey. Heel Roxanne is bad enough to be the next Liv Morgan. Yeah, sounds about right.
No.
We then get Ariana Grace segment number 2. This was delightful. They're in the dress shop trying to figure out which dress to buy Georgina because Georgina agreed that she's going to do this. And they go to the dress shop. And in the park, she wanted to get something black. But no, black was not on the menu for Miss Ariana Grace. Ariana Grace found the most ugly green dress I've seen. Like, it looked like a really bad prom dress.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty, but
It was okay.
But Gigi decided to. She goes, you know what? No, I can make this work. I'm going to style it and make it more me. So she takes some time, and they interpoint some noises of people doing all kinds of crazy shit. And she comes out with the dress cut all the way up her thigh. She's got black lace all over the two sides. It's got bobby pins from all the way on the bottom, all the way up around her bodice, the whole nine. It looks pretty good. Ariana Grace, not very impressed, not very happy with this. However, Georgina walks up to the people at the store and goes, this is a keeper. I'll be taking this. I'll wear it out of the store. She'll be paying. And Ariana Grace walks up with like 15 credit cards. Poor Santino. All these credit cards. Santino, did you not teach her about money management? Come on. You don't need that many credit cards. Goodness, Santino. No wonder why Santino has to work in TNA. He's going to pay off all Ariana Grace's freaking credit card debt.
Well, I thought they taught that in etiquette school. No, they don't teach you financials. I guess not.
Maybe that'll be next.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on the dress shop?
No, I mean we talked about it a little bit earlier, but it was fun to see this. So I want to see what they decide to do next, because she even said it that she didn't want to do the etiquette stuff. She's like, no, we'll do that later. I'm like, I'm waiting for the book on top of the head kind of thing. So I know we'll get that sometime soon.
I'm still waiting for them dyeing her hair blonde or black or some normal color that's not the bright orange that Gigi Dolan's had it her entire time in WWE, because you know that's coming. They're going to cut the hair. They're going to dye it. They're going to do something crazy to it.
Oh my God, I forgot. What if they do it close to her wedding day?
I mean, she's marrying Zach Wern, so I really don't care what happens for her wedding day. It's fine.
Oh my gosh.
We then get Ivar versus Josh Briggs, and at this point, I went ahead and showed my mother a thing about from Mehdi Hassan about Donald Trump in his first 100 days and how bad they could really be if Donald Trump gets reelected. By the time that 6-minute video was over, so was this match.
Yeah, I'm telling you, between the tag team and this match, they just kind of lost me. All I remember seeing was the moonsault and then Ivar winning.
That's all I saw too, because that's the highlight they showed me. I didn't even know that it happened. It was just the highlight that they showed me after the match. Yep. Sometimes I get distracted. Social media is a bad thing sometimes. However, the segment wasn't over, because then they go backstage to Obafemi, who's asked what he thought of Ivar's win. And the entirety of his interview was encapsulated in checks notes. Interesting. End quote. And he walked away. Apparently, he walked away. And so I don't understand how this works. Because so Oro Mensah's lying on the floor like he got walked into again. However, Obafemi would have had to walk past him to open the door to knock him down. So if this were really the case, he should have been on the other side of the door, and we should have seen him crawling into the doorway after Obafemi walked out of the door.
Because I was thinking the angle doesn't make sense, because if the door's here and he's literally lying here, he makes it seem like he ran him over from this way. He could have seen him. If it went the other way, it would have made more sense. So it's like, why didn't he just show it? I don't get it. But oh wow.
It just they had him laid out in the wrong spot, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
They should have opened the door like Kelly opened the door and have him laid out that way.
Yes, on the other side of the door.
Mm-hmm.
So as Oba's walking away, you see him crawl into the doorway where he got beaten down the door again. That would have made sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. I'm very excited to see Obafemi versus Oro Mensah, because I just can't wait for Oro Mensah to beat the shit out of Oro. It's going to be fun.
You mean Oba beat the shit out of Oro?
That's what I said.
Are you sure?
Did I not say that? I meant to say that. In my head, I said that.
I feel like Oro beat the shit out of Oro is what I heard. And I'm like, wait, what? How is that working?
Or wwenxt is doing a very good job of beating the shit out of himself lately on TV, so I guess it's not that big. That's not that big a strike.
Hey. Oh my god.
Barry, getting into the politics section, says, we just got rid of our total fuckwit right-wing Republican libertarian prime minister in under 3 months. You're stuck with 4 more years. Win for us. We're not technically stuck for 4 more years yet. He hasn't actually yet won the election.
Yeah.
God, I hope he doesn't. Next week, on week 1 of Spring Break-In, we get Roxanne versus Tatum versus Lyra for the Women's Championship. We get Blair versus Soul in a beach brawl. We get the Candy Crew versus the Family in a 6-man tag. We get the NXT Underground Women's contract signing between Lola Vice and Natalya. And of course, our main event of next week's show, Ilja versus Trick for the NXT Championship. Ilja's last match in NXT.
Yep, man. Yep.
And then we get the steel cage match. Title of our show. It's a good steel cage match. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
However, like the rest of this feud, the build to this feud was better than either of the matches in the feud.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't, because I thought the PLE match would have been one of those like, yes, you're gonna show us why you're the main event. Like that was my thought process going into it. The match was good, don't get me wrong, but it didn't exceed my expectations with both of them, because I feel like usually when they're best friends, they kind of hate each other harder, and you kind of see that happening. And I feel like this wasn't it. So when this got announced, when Carmelo said it last week, I was thinking, okay, this is the match. This is the one that we're supposed to give us at the PLE. I'm seated, okay. And then this happens, and I just went, yeah, can I go back to the PLE, because that one was better.
Like, don't get me wrong. I love this match. Trick does really good work. The character work from both guys is fantastic. Carmelo having the goons try to get into the cage to bring in the steel chair, fantastic work. Trick using the trick shot, the big knee into the chair to get the win. That's great, but it didn't hit.
No, even just the ending, it feel like when he hits it, you kind of expect something else to happen afterwards, and it's like he goes to the pin and it's over. And it's like, am I sure this really ended? And I hated it, because I like both of them. Like you said, the build up was just so amazing. So you expect the like little bow to wrap up the whole storyline to be in such a way that when the match itself happened, the match was good, but just like I was hoping it would be better than that, and it wasn't. And it kind of disappointed me in that sense, because I thought, being both of them, that this would have been better than what it was. I didn't know what to think. I'm like, I kind of wish I could go back in time and just enjoy the build up again, because it was better than what I hoped it would be. But
yeah, it's just and Barry Monkey says something here. I'm in 2 minds of it. He says Trick isn't that good a wrestler. He's not bad. He's just not good enough. I don't disagree, but I disagree slightly, if that makes any sense. I think I have a higher level of respect for Trick's wrestling, I think, than Barry Monkey might have. But at the same point, I understand and can't really argue with Barry Monkey's point. Because every time Trick has these big matches where you think it's going to go all out, whether it's the production of the matches or it's the guys he's in the ring with, it always seems to be a level. His best match is the match with Ilja at the pay-per-view a couple months ago.
Yeah.
The best match of his career should be these matches with Melo. With the storyline that's been told, there's no reason why it's not these matches. And while Ilja is... I don't think Ilja is that much better of a wrestler than Carmelo Hayes. So I don't want to say that there's something about Ilja. But I think there's something about the way Ilja wrestles his matches that Melo doesn't, that makes it easier for the babyface like Trick Williams to be more invested, to feel like he's coming out on the other side of something. However, Carmelo Hayes gets the, thank you Melo chance that Braun Breaker got last week after the show went off the air. To be expected. He's been on SmackDown a whole bunch. It's to be expected that he'll be called up in the draft. No big surprise there. Barry Monkey says, I think he needs another year. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree that I think Trick Williams needs a little bit more. Not because and again, like Barry says, it's not that Trick's bad. There's just there's a piece of his game that's missing in these big matches. It's not that he's under-delivering, because he's giving his part of the match. It doesn't feel like he's letting down the match. But there's something that doesn't connect. Like you and I have said it. We've watched these two matches with Carmelo, and we're left wanting a bit more from both of these matches. Like there's something missing from these two matches. And there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be anything missing from these two. These should have been his piece de la resistance, and they weren't. And it's a shame for both Trick and Carmelo. However, I said it when I as soon as I saw that Javon Evans was the open challenge person, I sent a message to Astrid, and I was like, not only is Ilja winning tonight, he's losing next week, and he's being drafted right after that. I have zero doubt in my mind that Ilja Dragunov is losing the title next week. There is no chance in hell that Trick Williams is not our NXT champion this time next week. Because this Ilja put on the match. Like if Ilja had no more matches in NXT, that was the match that put him on the right where he needed to be, and he could walk away with that. I think his match with Trick is going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be a barn burner. Somehow it's going to be better than both these matches with Carmelo Hayes. And I think the world of Trick and Carmelo. I've been shouting their praises since Trick joined up. I've been shouting the praises of Carmelo Hayes since he debuted. I think these two guys are fantastic. But I'm objective enough to say that these matches weren't good enough. They're good. Like Barry says, they're not bad. They're just not good enough. And I think Trick gets it. He's willing to put in the work. I don't think this is going to be a thing of Trick isn't willing to work. Trick isn't working hard enough. The crowd's behind him. The crowd adores him.
Yep.
It's just figuring out the missing piece for Trick Williams. And they have an entire year to figure it out. Because I assume next year in the draft, he'll be that guy like Carmelo Hayes is this year. He needs to go up to the main roster. He's ready. He's wasting his time in NXT. There's nothing left for him to do. Astrid, where can the good people find you this upcoming week?
I mean, not much going on. Thankfully, at the same time. But no, everything else you can find it on my YouTube channel. All the past interviews and past shows. Other than that, you can find me in the Twitter blue skies, Astrid Pizarro, and Threads and Instagrams, Astrid Pizarro 20. Hopefully that Astrid Ask comes out next week. I'm waiting to get graphics and all that stuff ready for it to be released. So, but thankfully, the one already with data has over 500 views. So thank you for that. And it's nice to see her. Congratulations to her for being part of Marigold as well. So nice to see that happening. I think you're muted. Yeah.
Big news for her being able to go ahead and get named to that roster. That's going to be a fantastic opportunity for her. She alluded to it in your interview that there was something coming down the pike. And now we know what it is. You can find me on Twitter at EdFries12584. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/EdFries2002. Tomorrow night, after AEW Dynamite, I am going to be doing a sponsored stream. I did one the other day. I'm going to be doing another one. I am doing a sponsored stream for the game AFK Journey. I almost forgot it for some unforspeakable reason. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in the chat. It is a PC auto battler that you can go ahead and play. I've been having a ball with it. I've been playing it. I'm playing it as a streamer that I watch did a sponsored stream for this about a week and a half ago. I saw it and loved it, started doing it, and then I found out that I had the same sponsorship in my thing. If you're a PC user, please consider downloading this. It can vastly help me If you can download this, if you haven't already played it before, download it and get to Resonance level 20. It takes about 40 minutes. It's an auto battler. It's super simple. It's super easy. It's a whole lot of fun. And if you don't like it after you get to level 20, you can go ahead and delete it. It's fine. But try to make sure that you go ahead and get it from my link right here. This is the link. It's in all the chats. You can go ahead and click on that. Or you can click on it when I'm on my sponsored stream tomorrow night, right after AEW Dynamite, as I go ahead and play another hour and a half of the game online. It is on away from your keyboard kind of auto battler. So many games you play and you get stuck and you're like, oh, I can't beat this boss. And you got to sink money or you got to sink time into going back and beating all kinds of little things to go ahead and beat the big thing. Not in this one. In this one, the great part about it is that it's an AFK thing. You leave it. You let it automatically accrue the things you need as you're away from it. You put it down. You go do something else. And then you can go ahead and go back to it, level up your characters, and go ahead and defeat the problem, things that you have been having a problem with. Last night, when I was doing my sponsor stream on Monday, I was having problems with some stuff. I let it go. Earlier today, I went ahead and went back into the game, leveled up my characters, boom, went through all the things I was having a problem with on Monday, went straight through them because of all the experience that I earned while I was away. It's a fun little thing. And like I said, you can help support me a little bit financially by going ahead and doing this. Plus, it'll give them the proof that I can go ahead and get some people to do things so that hopefully I can get better sponsored streams for more games that I enjoy. So that is the hopes. That will be taking place tomorrow night after AEW Dynamite. Astrid, I'm going to get you on the books. This week, we're going to do Talking Takeover. Monday, right?
No, I'll let you know why later.
All right.
The one after.
The one after? Not this week, but the week after?
Yeah.
All right, fine. We've got a good one coming up. The next one's Our Evolution.
Well, I guess but Bobby and I are recording our movie review for the movie Abigail because it comes out this weekend.
Ooh.
So Killer Cuts episode coming up with Melissa Barrera. Yeah. So we're talking about Abigail soon.
With Wahawawa?
Melissa Barrera from Scream.
Okay. She's going to be on the show.
No, she's part of the movies that we're reviewing.
Oh,
Abigail.
Okay. I thought she was your guest. So I saw your tweet earlier asking for guests, and I was like, oh, you got Melissa Rivera for the show.
I wish.
That's incredible. Good job. I don't know.
I wish.
You're getting all the publicity this week from everybody putting you out there and talking about content creators this week. Who knows what kind of publicity you won't get? We will see you all next week to talk NXT. We will talk NXT next week, Spring Break-In. In a couple of weeks, we'll be going ahead and doing Talking Takeover. Marvel Talk will return next Wednesday night, so go ahead and make sure you catch us for that. Until next time, we'll see you later. Barry Monkey says good night, everybody. And I say it too. Goodbye.